Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us for Access City Council. I'm your host, City of Las Vegas Communications Director, Riggleman. It's a sobering reality. Southern Nevada ranks among the top communities in the nation for deaths on our local roadways. Coming up on this show, we'll discuss what's being done to protect and save lives. Here to talk about this important topic and much more is our Mayor Pro Tem, Brian Knudsen. Welcome back. Mayor Pro Tem, how are you?
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
This is such a timely discussion. We're going to get into that in a few minutes here, but the time to talk about safety on the roadways and how dangerous things have become is now. We're going to talk about that here with a very special guest, in fact. But before we get to that, you represent Ward 1 on the City Council. If you're not exactly sure where Ward 1 is located, well, don't worry. We're going to show you on the map. It's really the heart of our cities, where the city really started for all intents and purposes, right at the Springs Preserve area there. And if you live in that area or work in that area, of course, you're in the city limits of the city of Las Vegas. And if you're a resident there, you are represented on the City Council by Brian Knudsen, who is now our Mayor Pro Tem. Well, Mayor Pro Tem, you know this. We have a very special guest here to talk about pedestrian safety, vehicle safety. Today is no different because this is just such a timely topic. But before we introduce our special guest, we want to show you this important video. Please watch.
November 25th to now doesn't seem like a long time, but when you're in constant pain, it's been an eternity. I was walking home Friday night from services because on the Sabbath we don't drive, we don't use electronics, we don't carry phones. I was the first one to arrive at the crosswalk at Delray and Arville. I looked both directions, no cars were coming. A car came out of the Walmart parking lot. He hit me, I flew up onto his hood, shattered his windshield. I broke 13 bones, both arms, both legs, my back. I had a skull fracture, and I broke 5 ribs. My wife was there. My wife of 49 years has been by my side the entire time. Sorry, I get a little emotional sometimes. I'm very lucky to be alive.
So this is his stuff. I don't know what the other shoe is. The other shoe flew. Okay.
God saved me for a reason. I've got to find that reason. The driver took his attention off the road for just a moment, and it has changed my life forever. I will never fully recover from this.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to read a letter that came from a constituent who was unfortunately hit by a car, so if that's okay, and then I would enter it into the public record. Dear Las Vegas City Council members, on the evening of November 25th, 2022, I was walking home from synagogue, and while in the crosswalk, a driver hit me with his car. The driver stopped and called the ambulance, and I was transported to a local hospital. I spent 2 weeks in intensive care in critical condition after 3 surgeries and 13 broken bones, including both legs, both arms, my spine, several ribs, and my skull. The irony of this accident is that safety has always been a cornerstone of my contribution to the community. I created and ran a security company, headed the neighborhood watch, and was instrumental along with my wife in installing the very crosswalk that I was in when I was hit by the car.
We certainly wish Mr. Goldblatt a recovery. I know it won't be speedy. It sounds horrible. And the fact that he was in the crosswalk and it happened, he's not, sadly, the only one.
Madam Mayor, and with support from Mr. Goldblatt, his wife Sean, and their 10 children, I am going to move to approve the City of Las Vegas Vision Zero Action Plan.
Vision Zero is a resolution that combines city, county, state, and federal funds to create safer pedestrian crosswalks. If you see someone in a crosswalk, stop.
And with that, everyone, we welcome Hal Goldblatt to the show. Hal, thank you so much for being here. He is a safety advocate, a traffic safety advocate for obvious reasons. And Hal, we're glad you're here because logic would have said otherwise.
Thank you. I'm glad I'm here too. Safety is very much important to me even before the accident. but now much more than ever. And as I reached out to different news stations and programs, the first thing they asked me was, well, who do you represent? And I said, I'm just one person. And they said, well, you have to be part of a group to be on our show.
Not here, Hal.
Yes. So actually, I reached out to Brian, who's been a supporter and helped me in the hospital and at home. He's an incredible city councilman. And he said, well, we could make you a community leader, a advocate for traffic safety. Mm-hmm. And with that, I can represent as a volunteer the city of Las Vegas, and that's the group that I'm with. And I'm very proud to be part of the city of Las Vegas and all that they've done. We've lived here 31 years and had many actions with the city council through the years, and I'm just very happy to be alive and be able to do something.
Yeah. Well, Hal, your story is so very timely. Mayor Pro-Tem, we were talking about this before we went on the air, but September was our deadliest month for pedestrians in Las Vegas history. It's a very, very scary statistic.
It's sad. It's shameful. It's you can't wake up anymore without seeing another fatal accident in the newspaper, on the TV. And so it's something that I think about all the time, and it's because of Hal and because of all the other people like Hal. Where as a government person, as an elected official, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to change the world to make it better? And so I think we have an amazing public works team, and they really put a lot of energy into developing the Vision Zero, and they are definitely putting a lot of funding towards making our roads safer. But it can't stop there. And so
exactly.
I think it's about telling stories. It's about changing hearts and minds. Mm-hmm. And for anybody who's watching, if you get behind a wheel, you need to stop and think about Hal. You need to stop and think about everybody else that's been hurt, that's been killed, the families that are left devastated because of poor decision making behind a wheel.
Right.
And that's the only way I know how to do that, because it's not just funding, it's not just the government, it's how do we change hearts and minds. And I think that's about telling a story. You have to do it over and over and over again until you get to everybody, so that they're thinking about Hal or someone else they love, or they're thinking about their children or their grandparents, and how do we make it a safer environment for everyone.
Hal, what's your message? How are you getting the message out to people that we just need to be more careful? And to Brian's point, a fatal accident used to be a fairly rare occurrence. I've been in Las Vegas a little longer than you, Hal, and it was a fairly rare occurrence here. Now we have them almost every single day, sometimes multiple in one day.
Drivers are distracted. They take their eyes off the road for a moment. The driver that hit me said he reached down to adjust his heater and wasn't paying attention. The signs, billboards, we have so much as we're driving that can distract us. The radio. Pay attention. Keep your eye on the road. That's the message. And slow down. That's very important. People are in such a hurry to get everywhere, and really you don't get there that much faster. 5 minutes isn't going to make a difference. Slow down, pay attention, and if you see somebody in a crosswalk standing at the edge of it, please stop for them. Don't just drive by. That crosswalk on Arville, several times I stand there and 10 cars will go by without stopping. They're in such a hurry to get to Walmart to shop. I don't understand it. Yeah. If you see somebody, please stop. And we have so many schools, and every school has a school zone. And so many children have been hit and killed in crosswalks by schools. Pay attention, look for crosswalks, and pay attention to who's there.
What do you think has changed? Is it because our city's larger now? Are people in more of a hurry since the pandemic? I hear that kind of attitudes have changed since the pandemic. What's your take? I agree with you. It seems like people are in more of a hurry than I've ever recalled.
Right. People are rushing everywhere, and I don't understand it either. if the speed limit's 35, go 35. Don't go 50, 60 miles an hour on a fairly residential street.
Right.
Just slow down, pay attention, and please stop for people in the crosswalk.
Yeah, it's the law besides.
This is why I think it's important for Hal. So I'm just gonna, it can only speak for myself. So I need to slow down. I need to realize what's around me, and I need to have less distractions when I'm driving. And I think about it in terms of my children. So I have my 8-year-old and my almost 6-year-old, and they're a lot, and I can't imagine losing them. I can't imagine a distracted driver. And so just, I can speak for myself only, is like listening to a message is how can I slow it down? I was 10 minutes late coming today. How can I slow it down and realize that 10 minutes is just 10 minutes? It's not a life. And how can you do that?
You know, and in Hal's case, the driver at least stopped, called the ambulance. Obviously, it was just distracted versus trying to do anything like they saw you and were going to try to shoot past.
Right. They weren't drunk. They weren't on drugs.
Exactly. And your accident was still so devastating.
Yes. And it's a miracle I'm alive. With that much damage, for 48 hours, they didn't think that I would make it. But I did, and God saved me, and I'm going to give back to the community as much as I can.
Well, Hal, I hope that people will take that to heart and be paying attention to your message out there, because it's a powerful one. And Hal, you could have been anybody on any street, anywhere in Las Vegas. What happened to you happens nearly every day, and then often does happen every day. So
the mayor provides really good advice. Is it starts right here. It starts with us, and so we find our purpose. We work our very best to fulfill a purpose, and that's what I hear you saying is there's a purpose in life, and we have got to slow down. We've got to recognize the value of every single person around us, and when we're driving a car in particular, we have to see what's around us and focus.
Starts with each of us. Hal, we're about out of time. I'll give you the final word.
Well, you mentioned that September was the deadliest month. There were 11 people killed in September. In October, there were 10. So it's almost the same. And the rate that we're going, we're soon going to bypass 2017, which was the deadliest month, deadliest year.
We're on a bad track,
Yeah,
Well,
But we can be better.
we can.
we can.
And Councilman, Mayor Pro-Tem, you and your other elected officials out there are working hard to try to do what we can to make the roads safer, but also doing what we can to get messages out to change people's hearts and minds when you get behind the wheel.
It's the best way to do it, is change them one person at a time.
One person at a time.
Thank you for what you're doing.
Yeah.
Thank you for caring enough to
Thank you
have a
for
purpose.
allowing me to do it.
Wow, it's been a pleasure. I'm so glad that you're still with us and that you're able to carry this message. It's an important one. I know a lot of people are going to listen to it now because of you. Well, everyone, we need to take a short break, but when Mayor Pro-Tem and I come back, we're going to tell you about a park showing visitors that life is beautiful. Plus, we're going